There's a rumor going around. If you like this video and subscribe, you will be granted the Alpha Stigma. Hi guys, this is the next part of What if Itachi Uchiha was reincarnated in the world of fairy tale? I hope you enjoy. Itachi let go of Ultir as he was shaking after the reveal that Ultir, a woman with Sharingan, father's name is Madara. Gray looked at Itachi in shock and surprise. He had never seen Itachi look afraid. Itachi. Who is Madara? Someone to fear, Itachi replied while still shaking. I can't believe it. Madara of all people. Wait, after seeing my other self's memories, the man with the mask who called himself Madara was really Obito. Itachi looked back at Ultir. You wouldn't happen to know what he looked like? My mother showed me a picture of him once, and I was very young so I don't remember exactly how it looked. He looked like a normal man with long spiky black hair and he had bangs that went over his right eye, and I think he was wearing some red armor, Ultir replied. Then it's really him, Itachi uttered as his worst fear was realized. Why are you so afraid of this Madara anyway? I mean, if Ul was in a relationship with him he couldn't be that bad, right? Gray questioned. Madara is a manipulative warmonger. He's also the strongest man to ever come out of my clan. He once tried to destroy my hometown. Itachi replied, still looking rather shocked. Until I know the full story behind your former master's relationship with him, I will be wary of him. And I suggest we stay away from him. If you say so. Come on, we're not done yet. Their guild master still remains. Gray offered Itachi his hand and he accepted it and stood up. No, there is one more intruder on this island. A bounty hunter after Natsu's head, and everyone else from our guild that has a high bounty on their head in the underworld. He is also hunting members of Grimoire Heart. Itachi said. Okay, is he that strong? Gray questioned. I suspect he's just as strong as Hades. I will go look for him. You meet up with whomever is capable of helping taking on Hades until reinforcements arrive. Itachi instructed. Alright, finish that bounty hunter off quick or else there isn't going to be much left of Hades for you. Gray bumped his fist on Itachi's shoulder. Yeah, Itachi smiled a little as he ran into the woods to look for Kakuzu and Zeref. Itachi closed his right eye to look through his crows and see if he could spot Kakuzu. Not there either. No, Itachi thought when suddenly he looked at the campsite through his crow and spotted Kakuzu approaching the campsite. Found you. Itachi used Shunshin to move at high speed towards the campsite. At the campsite, Fried and Bixlo had arrived at the island along with Guildarts and had just defeated a dog man in samurai armor and a chicken man, both from Grimoire Heart. At the moment Fried and Levi were busy putting up an enchantment around the camp. A defense enchantment is meaningless if it has even the tiniest of holes. Precision is key. Double check it for any holes. Fried instructed the blue-haired genius of the guild. Right. This time it's my turn to protect you. Gajil. Levi uttered that last part as she looked over at the sleeping Gajil whom still hadn't fully recovered despite having gotten the medical pill from Itachi. Did you say something? Fried questioned looking over at Levi. If you want to say something say it clearly. It's not like that, Levi shouted with a faint blush. Meanwhile Lizana and Mira Jane, the latter had woken up a few minutes ago, were wrapping bandages around their brother. Okay. You should lie down now, Elf Nichin. Lizana said. I've already rested plenty. I can at least keep watch, Elfman said. You should just rest. You've been through enough already. Mira said with a warm loving smile. You know, the two of you keep groaning in your sleep. Elf Nichin goes, ever. And Mira Nay goes, Itachi. Lizana teased her older siblings. No, it's not. That's not. Elfman was blushing madly and Mira herself was blushing although she didn't deny it. It was pointless for her to do so anyway since she and Itachi have already kissed, so everybody knows they have a thing for each other. Oh, you. I was just kidding. Lizana giggled and lightly pushed Elfman over his bandages making him fall back in pain from his wounds. Man, you guys sure are carefree. Bixlo commented. Carefree. His dolls chanted. You're one to talk. Where'd you go? Elfman questioned as Bixlo had just returned to them after wandering off somewhere. I got rid of that knocked out dog and chicken guy, can't risk them giving away our location. Bixlo replied. Good work, we're almost done here too. Fried said. You guys are still hurt too. You should rest a little. Levi said. Compared to those guys who tried to set foot in enemy territory, this is nothing. Bixlo smirked when suddenly a flying fist attached to some black tentacles slammed into him sending him crashing to the ground. Well, looks like I found your hiding spot. Not to mention Master Makarov is here as well and his wounded. She-Devil Mira Jane, Black Steel Gajeel, Beast Arm Elfman, and the Thunder God tribe. And some small fry as well. Humph, well at least maybe I can earn some money off of you as well. Kakuzu walked past the area where Freed hadn't put up an enchantment yet. Who is this? Freed narrowed his gaze and got into fighting stance, along with Bixlo, Elfman, Lizana, Levy and Mira Jane. Is he a member of Grimoire Heart as well? Levy questioned when suddenly they all felt the killing intent he was releasing and Levy and Lizana froze. I'm a bounty hunter so to speak, and I'm here to collect the bounties you guys have on your heads in the underworld. Kakuzu said as black tentacles stuck out from his skin in the sewed-up areas. 3 black monster-like figures with masks then popped out from his back and stood around him. I have managed to get another new heart to replace the one the salamander crushed, but I haven't replaced the one Itachi broke. Any of you won't happen to have lightning element in you, would you? Hearts? What's this creep talking about? Elfman questioned as he was in immense pain. He also feared that he couldn't protect his sisters. Now then, who should I start with first? Kakuzu eyed his opponents. Out of all of you standing, the She-Devil is the most dangerous opponent. Guess you're first then. Kakuzu had the fire-masked beast step in front of him and directed itself towards them. It opened its mouth. Let's test this one out. Flame gods. Bellow. The flame mask spewed out a massive wave of black flames towards the camp, endangering everyone. Mira Jane leapt towards while transforming into her Satan soul form. She then directed her hands towards the wave of fire. Dark deflect. Mira redirected the flames to the side, saving everyone from the black flames. Kakuzu then moved the wind mask at Mira. Jet black sword. The wind mask formed a magic circle and released a black claw-like sword. That's that Rusty Rose guy's attack. Elfman said in shock when he rushed to grab the unconscious Evergreen, Makarov and Gajeel leaping away from the sword, and so did Mira and the others as the sword crushed the area where the injured people were. Lizana changed into her cat girl outfit and charged at Kakuzu, swinging her claws at him. You're in the way, shrimp. Kakuzu slapped her to the side, making her return to normal. You're all hardly a challenge with this low amount of magic power. Kakuzu said when Mira charged at him and slammed her Satan soul claw into him. Kakuzu blocked the strike with his arm that was hardened with his earth style, yet the force was enough to send him skidding to the side. Baryon formation. Bixlo formed his dolls in a pentagonal pattern, having them move around. They released a massive green magic beam towards Kakuzu, who had both his fire and wind masked beast stand next to him. Fire style. Intelligent hard work. Wind style. Pressure damage. The masks released a massive fire wave and a large tornado that merged into a blazing inferno that was large enough to take them all out. Mira gathered dark energy between both her hands. Soul Extinctor. She blasted a dark purple magic beam towards the blazing inferno, helping Bixlo's beam struggle against the inferno. It's not enough. Mira uttered as the blazing inferno grew larger and overpowered hers and Bixlo's magic beam. Iron Dragon. Roar. Gajeel spat out a massive breath attack of iron that merged with Mira and Bixlo's attack. Their attacks managed to stand equal to Kakuzu's blazing inferno, and slowly they managed to overpower Kakuzu, who quickly had his water masked beast fly over them. Water style. Raging Typhoon. The water mask blasted a wave of water towards Bixlo, Mira Jane and Gajeel. But the water collided with a wall with runes on them that was formed by Freed. What? Kakuzu questioned as Bixlo, Mira Jane and Gajeel's combined wave overpowered Kakuzu's blazing inferno. Kakuzu narrowed his eyes as the wave blasted into him and went across the island. That takes care of that punk. Gajeel panted as he felt a little tired from that. Then a pair of hands popped up from the ground and grabbed his legs, the arms stretched out dragging Gajeel with them, then the arms swung down and slammed Gajeel into the ground. Gajeel. Levy shouted in concern. Solid script. Fire and wind. Levy blasted a wave of fire and wind at the tentacles connecting the two hands and burning them, forcing them to let Gajeel go. Kakuzu then leapt up from the ground. Mira and Elfman turned his arm into a hard-skinned beast charged at him. Kakuzu ducked from Elfman's punch and kicked him in the gut, sending him flying back. He jumped in the air avoiding a kick from Mira, and swung his leg into her side, sending her skidding back. Kakuzu stretched out the tentacles from his arms and connected them with his hand and reattached them. Gajeel then appeared above him with his arm turned into a sword with multiple spikes around the blade. Iron Dragon. Sword. Gajeel swung the sword down on Kakuzu, who hardened his body and blocked the sword with his arm. Gajeel's sword then began moving like a chainsaw. What the? Kakuzu questioned as Gajeel was beginning to cut through him. Kakuzu pushed Gajeel back and jumped back. Not bad brat, but not good enough. Gravity magic. Pressure dome. Kakuzu's water mask formed a large magic circle over them and a massive dome of gravity was formed pushing everyone down. It's about time we put an end to this. Kakuzu was about to increase the pressure of the gravity when suddenly magic cards stabbed around him on the ground and released a surge of lightning, electrocuting him. Arg. As Kakuzu was electrocuted, Kanna also threw electric magic cards at the water mask beast, making it undo the gravity dome. Kanna. Lizana shouted in relief. I've had enough of you. You disrupted the trial. You hurt my friends. You go after the injured. Paying back in double isn't gonna cut it for us. Kanna glared at Kakuzu, who was now surrounded by Bixlo, Freed, Gajeel, Mira Jane and Kanna, while Lizana tended to Elfman, who was out of magic power, and Levi tried to wake up the master. Mere children like you can't ever hope to defeat me. I have had enough of playing around. It's time I got serious. Kakuzu announced as everyone got ready for something to happen. It seems Itachi hasn't given you guys the info about me. Lucky me then. How do you know Itachi? Mira questioned in rage. How? Well, I suppose the proper term would be former acquaintance. Kakuzu replied. Well, I don't really care about Itachi. All I care about is money. Money is everything. Money is power. Everything in life has a price. That's a sad belief. Well, no matter. I don't care how Itachi knows freaks like you. All I care about is kicking your ass. Gajeel grinned and glared at Kakuzu. Tell me your name first. I want to know the name of such a strong opponent like yourself. Kakuzu, you will be well to remember that name. The name of your killer. Kakuzu said as Gajeel grinned and charged at him. Come on then. Gajeel swung his fist towards him. His fist extended and turned into an iron club. Kakuzu hardened his body and grabbed the club and then swung Gajeel into the air. However, he couldn't let go as his hand was trapped with iron bolts holding his hand attached to the club. What? Kakuzu questioned as Gajeel pulled himself in. By retracting the iron club, he formed his other arm into another iron club and slammed it into Kakuzu's face. Gajeel didn't release him and kept throwing punches into Kakuzu's face repeatedly. Kakuzu glared at Gajeel and had the wind mask hover above them. Sacred Guardian Beast Belfast the Hurricane. The wind-masked beast formed a magic circle and out came a giant black creature similar to a wyvern. The beast charged at Gajeel but then suddenly stopped. Now what? Kakuzu questioned as the beast attacked him instead. Human possession magic. Bixlo smirked, having possessed the large beast. Kakuzu then had it vanish and quickly used the wind mask to send a powerful blast at Gajeel, pushing him to the ground. Kakuzu broke the iron bolts holding his hand and jumped back. Flame gods. Bellow. The fire mask released a massive wave of black flames directly crashing into Gajeel. When it connected, it exploded. Gajeel leapt out from the smoke with his body covered in iron. I will make sure none of you will be able to move again. Kakuzu said as the water mask flew over the fairy tale group. Gravity magic. Complete pressure. Kakuzu leapt over the water mask beast and landed on a treetop as everything in a wide area got affected by the pressure of the gravity. Everyone fell to the ground. The pressure was so much that the ground got pushed further down, leaving body marks in the ground of everyone. This is the end, no escape for either of you. Kakuzu smirked beneath his mask when suddenly he heard the shriek of a crow. What? Kakuzu looked up in the sky and saw a large crow flying above them, and Itachi came flying down with a blue sphere in his right hand. Itachi. Rasengan. Itachi slammed the blue sphere into the water masked beast in the back of its head, sending it flying down like a meteor. When they connected with the ground slightly away from the campsite, the heart in the mask was crushed. The gravity magic got deactivated and everyone could move once more. Everyone got up as Itachi walked out of the forest and over to them. Itachi. Mira ran up to him and hugged him. Thank you for earlier. Mira said as she didn't get the chance to thank Itachi for saving her and Lizana from Azuma. You're welcome. Now, Itachi looked up at the treetop to face Kakuzu. Last chance Kakuzu, leave and never come back. Sorry but I can't leave just yet. Not until I have gathered the bounty of Hades and Makarov at least. And perhaps the salamander. Even if I get Makarov and Hades, I still wouldn't have as much as I would have had with you and the 7 kin members. Kakuzu leapt down from the treetop and stood face to face with Itachi and the others. Itachi, I didn't really want to fight you, but now with the loss of some of my hearts, and you getting in the way, it seems to be unavoidable. Kakuzu said and narrowed his eyes at Makarov. I don't stand a chance against all of them with Itachi now in the mix, however I don't need to beat him. Just to find an opening to grab Makarov and get out of here. Then wait while they take down Hades and grab him as well, and I will have earned my monthly pay. Kakuzu thought and focused on Itachi. Okay, listen up everyone, you see those black monster things with the masks? Those are his spare hearts, he won't go down unless we take them out in his original heart. Itachi informed everyone. He has multiple hearts? Mira questioned with wide eyes. How is it possible for a human to? Fried questioned. It's not really his own, he steals them from people and once he does that he's able to use their magic and nature element. And when a heart stops beating he gets a new one, it sort of makes him immortal. Itachi explained. How cruel, Lizana uttered in disgust. We shall end his immortal life here at once. Fried said and swung his sword to the side. Oh, the creep's getting it now. Gajil slammed his right fist into his palm while cracking his knuckles. Let's show him the power of fairy tale. Kanna shouted. Let's go. Itachi said and charged forwards at Kakuzu. Itachi delivered a series of kicks and punches as Kakuzu stepped back for each blow and blocking each one. Gajil charged Kakuzu from behind with his right arm having turned into an iron club. Kakuzu flipped over the club as Gajil smacked it to the ground. Mira Jane flew at him in her Satan soul form throwing a barrage of heavy punches and kicks which Kakuzu dodged by flipping backwards. He was then surrounded by Bixlo's dolls which charged up energies. Kakuzu jumped up avoiding the doll's blast attack. Dark Ecrature. Absolute Shadow. Fried covered his upper body in a dark armor with his long green hair sticking out from the top, slicked back. Fried charged at Kakuzu with his hands releasing a shockwave of lightning. Fried delivered a melee attack at Kakuzu's back electrocuting him. Arg. Kakuzu growled in pain as he managed to kick Fried off of him. The two beasts with the fire and wind mask flew at them, they both released a wave of fire and wind that merged into a blazing inferno. Itachi looked at the inferno as he activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and had tears of blood run down his eye. Amaterasu. Black flames were lit on the blazing inferno and began burning away the flames itself. Kakuzu's flames got burned away by Itachi's black flames. The fire mask beast flew in front of the black flames and opened its mouth. The fire mask beast then to Itachi's surprise began absorbing the flames by sucking them in. He's taken the heart of Zancro, so he's able to eat all kinds of flames. Seems like all your flames are worthless against me. Kakuzu had the flame masked beast open its mouth. Flame gods. Bellow. The fire mask sent out a massive wave of black flames towards Itachi, he narrowed his eyes. Itachi then widened his eyes and formed a red spectral warrior around him that formed the Yata mirror in front of Itachi. The black flames clashed into the shield and reflected back at the beast with the fire mask, that flew to the side to dodge it. Itachi deactivated the Susano to preserve his chakra. Itachi gazed into Kakuzu's eyes, and Kakuzu realized what he just did narrowed his eyes, as Itachi's body turned into a murder of crows. That circled around Kakuzu. To think I would fall victim to one of your genjutsus. How unsightly. Kakuzu formed a set of hand seals and focused his chakra to the point where it reached zero. He then burst it out at full power as the genjutsu began to crack. Itachi focused on the genjutsu increasing its effect, to the point where Kakuzu remained in the genjutsu. Kakuzu then began releasing more chakra until the genjutsu broke. Once Kakuzu returned to reality he saw a dark magic blast from Mira. Kakuzu hardened his skin and brought his arms in an X formation to block the blast attack. Kakuzu skidded back from the impact and quickly summoned forth his 2 extra hearts to catch him. The wind-masked beast summoned forth a massive magic circle beneath Itachi and Mira Jane. Tower of Dingir. A massive pillar flew out from the ground while ensnaring Itachi and Mira Jane, dragging them up with it. It's over, Kakuzu said as the tower began to glow. Itachi quickly formed the Susano. The tower then exploded sending a massive shockwave around the area. And out from the smoke of the explosion leapt out the spectral Susano warrior, and inside was Itachi holding Mira Jane bridal style. Out of the two of them Itachi had a few bruises on his right arm as that part of him got caught a bit in the explosion. Itachi twitched a little in pain as he deactivated the Susano. Itachi, your arm, Mira said with a concerned look on her face. Itachi gave her a reassuring smile. It's fine, nothing's broken, just a little bruised up, nothing to worry about. Itachi then sent ice-cold glares at Kakuzu. He went into his calculative mode and analyzed the battle so far. Kakuzu has 2 spare hearts plus his own left. The one has fire and fire god slayer magic, the other has wind and arc of embodiment. And Kakuzu has Earth style. Elfman, Lizana and Levi can't do much in this fight, the ones with the most magic power is Mira Jane, Gajilfried and Bixlo. Kanna hasn't fully recovered hers yet but she has enough to fight. And the master is still unconscious. Itachi has a lot of chakra, but does he have enough to take on Kakuzu and Hades later on? Itachi looked around the field to come up with a strategy. I got it, Itachi said and Mira looked at him in bewilderment. Itachi then whispered into her ear, telling her the plan. She looked at him with a smile and nodded. Itachi formed the hand seals. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Itachi formed 4 clones of himself, while he activated the skeleton stage of the Susano and Mira jumped into its palm. Okay, let's go. Mira. Itachi had the Susano throw her towards the fire-masked beast and then the Susano faded away. While Itachi and the clones advanced towards Kakuzu and the wind-masked beast. Gajil appeared behind Kakuzu and inhaled his breath. Iron Dragon. Roar. Gajil let out a mighty iron breath attack directed at Kakuzu's back. Kakuzu leapt up dodging it and the wind mask sent a blast at Gajil's back sending him flying towards Kakuzu, who slammed his fist into the Dragon Slayer's face and then kicked him away. Freed appeared behind Kakuzu while still in his armor and threw a barrage of punches at him, that Kakuzu blocked. He swiftly grabbed Freed by the face and stretched out his hand sending Freed crashing to the ground. He forcefully lifted Freed's body up and swung it crashing into Bixlo and then had the wind-masked beast blast them with a whirlwind. Once the attack collided it broke Freed's armor and sent both of them crashing into a rock, knocking them both out. Mira flew towards the fire mask in her Satan soul state with her fist having gathered up a lot of dark energy. The fire mask formed a black fire scythe in its hands and swung it at Mira who ducked just in time. The scythe slashed off a few strands of hair. Kakuzu stabbed all 4 Itachi clones with the black tentacles resulting in them vanishing in a puff of smoke. While the original Itachi swung his fist at Kakuzu who ducked and kicked Itachi into a tree that broke in half. He noticed Mira about to slam her fist into the fire-masked beast, and quickly went to its aid by stretching out his right hand and grabbing Mira by the throat pushing her away from the fire-masked beast. Kakuzu grunted in pain. He turned around to see Mira Jane slamming her fist into the wind-masked beast crushing the heart behind the mask. What? Exclamation mark quote. He looked at the Mira Jane he was holding by the throat that had turned into Itachi. What the? How? Kakuzu questioned as Itachi formed a blade of lightning and cut the tentacles attached to the hand holding him by the throat, and taking Kakuzu's hand off his throat and threw it to the side. Itachi landed on the ground and looked at Kakuzu who wanted to know what just happened. It's quite simple really. First I formed the shadow clones, then in the smoke screen the shadow clones made, I used a transformation ninjutsu to turn into Mira Jane and she used transformation magic to turn into me. We switched places and since we stood next to each other I could form the Susano and even keep it up while I was on its hand. When it threw me it vanished since I wasn't there to keep it up anymore. We then used the opportunity to attack each of your hearts separately. Mira and my clones attacked you in the wind mask and I attacked the fire one. Knowing you would be too busy holding off my clones thinking I was your greatest threat, I used the opportunity to get dangerously close to the fire mask. And when there was no danger for the wind mask carrying your third heart, you went to rescue your second one in the fire mask by stopping me. Mira pretended to be knocked out, and used the moment you were distracted to destroy your other heart. And that's about it, Itachi explained. You crafty little brat. Kakuzu growled in rage. His last spare heart in the fire mask beast appeared next to him. It's still not over yet, Kakuzu stated and the fire mask formed a massive black magic circle. Flame gods. Explosive flame. A massive ball of black flames was released towards Itachi, Mira Jane, Kanna and Gajil. Itachi formed a full armored upper body Susano and formed the Tostuka blade and had the massive ball of fire sliced in half. Then suddenly a fist came up from the ground beneath him and delivered an uppercut punch to Itachi, sending him flying out of the Susano. Then the fire mask levitated above Itachi. Fire style. Intelligent hard work. The fire mask released a massive wave of fire crashing into Itachi, sending him crashing to the ground. Now, Kakuzu hardened his skin and leapt up in the air, and stretched his arm out into the fiery smoke. When the smoke cleared Kakuzu's fist was dug into Itachi's gut who vomited out blood. Itachi. Mira shouted in rage and flew towards Kakuzu at immense speed while forming a dark sphere of energy between her hands. Evil explosion. Mira sent a dark magic beam blasting into Kakuzu creating a massive explosion. Kakuzu leapt out from the smoke. Due to his hardened skin he didn't take that much damage. Gajeel then appeared behind Kakuzu with his entire body covered in iron. Take this bastard. Gajeel slammed his fist into Kakuzu's back, sending him crashing into the ground. Iron Dragon. Roar. Gajeel released a massive wave of iron in a mighty roar that blasted into Kakuzu's back. Kakuzu grunted in a little pain. Then several magic cards stabbed on the ground around him, and burst in a fiery explosion mixed with lightning. Kakuzu screamed in pain as he was electrocuted. Mira was then behind him and slammed her fist into Kakuzu's back. Evil Spark. Mira sent a wave of lightning through Kakuzu, electrocuting him even more. Kakuzu swung his arm back, slamming Mira away, crashing into a tree. I've had enough of all of you. Kakuzu growled and stretched his hand out and grabbed Mira by the throat. You will replace the heart you destroyed. Kakuzu's tentacles were about to pierce Mira's chest. Mira nay. Lizana shouted in horror. Nay-chan. Elfman shouted also in horror. It's over for you. Kakuzu stopped as he widened his eyes as a hand covered with lightning was piercing his chest. Damn it. Kakuzu grunted as behind him was Itachi with his hand covered in lightning in the shape of a blade. Mira pulled Kakuzu's hand off her throat and jumped back. Itachi had a trail of blood running down his lips and he was panting. 1 to go. Itachi uttered and pulled his hand out off Kakuzu's body as he fell to the ground. The fire mask then came flying into Kakuzu's back. Itachi quickly raised his hand with the Chidori, ready to end it when a heartbeat was heard. Kakuzu kicked Itachi in the shin, swiftly turned around and kicked him in the chin, he then quickly jumped back. Kakuzu retracted his arm and looked around him. This is the first time in a while I've been reduced to 1 heart. I will make sure to take all of yours as payment. Kakuzu looked over at the unconscious Makarov, still being shielded by Elfman, Lizana, Levi, Freed and Bixlo, who were heavily injured. I can't get to the old man quick enough. I need to find a way to get him, and quick. My heart can't leave my body or I will be a sitting duck. If I quickly go at the ones guarding Makarov, and burn through them, I can get his body and escape. I can use this flash bomb to blind the others for a bit so that I can make it in time, Kakuzu thought and looked around at Itachi, Mira Jane, Kanna and Gajeel, who slowly began surrounding him. Now, Kakuzu threw down the flash bomb that released a blinding light. Damn, not again, Itachi cursed. Kakuzu rushed towards Makarov. This is it. You're mine, old man. Kakuzu was about to burn through the ones shielding Makarov, when suddenly a giant hand came past them and grabbed Kakuzu, squeezing him tightly. What? You dare harm my children while I'm resting right here. Makarov growled and tightened his grip. You dare infiltrate our guild's sacred ground. You dare threaten to kill my children for money. I will make you wish you never crossed paths with Fairy Tail. Makarov shouted and tightened his grip. Kakuzu grunted, trying to break free from the master's hold. Everyone gathered around them. Let go. Kakuzu shouted as the fire mask released a wave of flames into Makarov's giant palm. Let go, or I will burn your arm to crisp. No. Makarov growled and stood up. He swung his arm back in a baseball fashion. Get off our island. Makarov threw Kakuzu far away. They all heard the sound of him hitting the water in a big splash. Now, how have things gone since I was asleep? Master Hades is all that remains of the Grimoire Heart. Natsu, Gray, Urza, Lucy and Wendy are fighting him right now. Itachi replied and summoned forth a giant crow. Where are you going? Makarov questioned. As if I don't already know that. I'm going to go help them. Meet us by the Grimoire Heart's ship. Itachi said and flew off at immense speed. He saw a wave of fire mixed with lightning coming blasting through the ship. That fire, Natsu, but that lightning, it felt like Laxus, Itachi thought and smiled a little. He looked with his Sharingan to see how many were on that ship. Seems everyone is still alive, although Hades' magic just went through the roof. Itachi flew closer in with his crow. That will be all for now, Itachi said as the giant crow vanished in a puff of smoke. Itachi flew like a rocket towards the hole in the ship left by that fire lightning wave. Once he was over it, it came to view that Natsu, Urza, Gray, Laxus, Lucy and Wendy were all out of magic and on their knees while Hades' hair stood up, and the eye he had under his eye patch was visible and glowed red. Hades! Itachi shouted, gaining the old man's attention. Hades looked at Itachi, who was now in front of him with his Sharingan glowing bright red. Once he saw Itachi's face and for a moment Itachi had his bangs over his right eye. The image of a man with long spiky black hair with bangs covering his right eye, dressed in a red samurai armor with also the Sharingan glowing came to mind. Madara. Hades widened his eyes in shock and Itachi kicked him in the gut, sending him skidding back. Itachi. Gray said with a grin. Itachi-san. Wendy smiled in relief as she wiped the tears from her eyes. Oni-chan. Urza smiled. Such magic power. And it keeps increasing, Itachi uttered with his eyes narrowed at Hades. Damn, Itachi, rival, you got here just in time, Laxus smirked widely. Laxus, good to see you too. Itachi said while not taking his eyes of Hades. Don't tell me you let this old man beat you up this much. Hey, he used to be the second master of our guild, he's tough alright. Laxus said with a small chuckle. Yeah, so Master Precht, I must say you have fallen quite far. Mavis must be rolling over in her grave. Itachi said as Hades stared at him. So, the boy has even someone related to that monster Madara in his guild. You are of Madara's blood, aren't you? Hades narrowed his gaze as his devil's eye glowed red. Madara is of my family, yes. And how do you know him? Itachi questioned as he wanted to know more about the resurrected ghost of the Uchiha. I met him once, he was a true monster, and just that one time was enough for me to remember him and his power. Hades replied. Very well then, fairy tale, feel the power of abyss sorcery. To walk the path of sorcery is to sink into its abyss of deep darkness. What lies there is primordial magic that shines in the abyss. Hades released a dark purple aura around him. It's close. The primordial magic is close at hand. But that close exists ever deeper. And what fills those depths is the grand magic world. The world of Zeref. Tonight, Zeref will awaken and the world will change. And then it will at last be mine, the primordial magic. But there is no place for you in the grand magic world. For you lack the resolve to reach for the abyss. Hades made a stance with his hands and released a lot of magic power. From the Book of Zeref, Chapter 4, Verse 12, Arcane Magic, Nemesis. Hades chanted as creatures of darkness formed around him. He's creating monsters from the rubble. Gray questioned while sweating a little, and Wendy was shaking in fear. With the magic power of the abyss, from the earth I can even create devils. Devilish dancers and heavenly arbiters, such is the power of arcane magic. Hades said, and Itachi looked behind him to see everyone shaking in fear of the magic power Hades was releasing and the power from those creatures. Itachi searched deep within himself and touched upon the dark energy within his body. I don't like it, but in my state I need the power, I just need to make sure I don't give in to it. Itachi thought as his body released a dark black aura, and black markings grew around his body from the center of his chest. Looks like I found a test subject. Itachi walked up to Hades and stopped right in front of him, standing, face to face. Oh, such magic power, it feels like darkness itself. Hades said with his eyes narrowed as they both released such incredible power. The dark monsters released magic blasts at Itachi. Itachi raised his arm up and swung it to the side, sending a massive wave of dark energy at the beasts, reducing them into nothing. Itachi then threw a punch at Hades, sending him flying backwards. Hades sent a barrage of magic bullets at Itachi. Itachi widened his Mangekyo Sharingan and dodged all the magic bullets. Hades moved his fingers, forming magic circles around Itachi. Amaterasu Formula 100. The magic circle caused a massive explosion with Itachi. The explosion gathered up a lot of smoke, and when it cleared it revealed Itachi surrounded by a spectral red ribcage. Hades then sent a massive dark magic wave at Itachi, who formed a humanoid Susano that seemed darker than usual thanks to Itachi using the black aura. The Susano pushed the wave to the side. The Susano then vanished as Itachi formed a small black sphere in his hand that had rings around it like Saturn. The pressure and the amount of power this one little tiny sphere was releasing, even Hades was looking rather nervous. Everyone, back away as quickly as possible. Itachi said, and Lucy supported up Natsu and did what she was told. Wendy also. Gray supported up Laxus and so did Urza, and they went as far back as they could. Attack him! Hades shouted as the remaining dark beasts he created blasted magic waves and bullets at him. Itachi ran towards Hades and dodged all the attacks from the beasts. Seems he needs to hold it and attack directly, I just need to keep my distance. Hades thought and sent a barrage of magic bullets while backing away. Meanwhile, underneath the ship, 3 Exceeds were surrounded by Grimoire Heart soldiers. Then suddenly 3 crows swooped in and grabbed Happy, Charles and Panther Lily. What the? Lily questioned as the crows flew out of there while holding them. Hey, what's with these birds? Let me go. Charles demanded. Wait. Itachi uses crows. I think these are his. Happy said as the crows let out a shriek as a confirmation of yes. Panther Lily then widened his eyes. Do you feel that? It feels like it's coming from right above us, that immense power. Such intense power. Charles widened her eyes in shock as well. Did they come here to rescue us? Happy questioned, referring to the crows. Back with Itachi and Hades. Now that my crows have gotten Happy and the others out of danger's way, I can attack him without any concern of the consequences. Itachi thought as Hades jumped up in the air, dodging Itachi, who stretched out his hand towards where Hades once stood. You can't reach me now. Hades was about to charge up a new blast. Itachi swiftly turned his body around, and threw the small black sphere at Hades, who widened his eyes in shock. Dark Solar. He could throw it. He tricked me. Hades widened his eyes in shock as the black sphere hit his gut. The sphere expanded into a massive explosion that sent Itachi flying back. The sphere tore up over half the ship, and expanded to the point where it was bigger than the ship itself. The explosion sent out powerful gushes of wind, and the explosion even attacked a room below where there was a massive big heart behind a wall of glass. The explosion then shrunk into a sphere so it was only covering Hades' body. The sphere faded and Hades' body fell down to the end of the destroyed ship, as his body almost fell over. Hades' right leg and left arm was blown away and he had several wounds around his body. I can't move, Hades uttered weakly as his devil eye was now normal as the devil heart beneath the ship had been destroyed. Itachi focused his energy so that the black markings retracted and slowly vanished to the center of his chest. And his black aura vanished. Itachi then fell to his knees, panting, sweating, and twitching his body in pain. Urza ran up to him and helped Itachi up. Oni-chan, that was, wow, yeah well, I don't have anything else in me. I'm completely drained of energy. Itachi panted. Fairy Tail is the greatest. Natsu cheered in the background. It's over, Gray said with a smile. Yeah, Urza turned back to her normal armor. We won, Wendy said with a smile. Then Happy, Charles and Panther Lily came flying with crows holding them. Help us, Happy shouted, as behind them were multiple Grimoire Heart soldiers with weapons. This isn't good, Gray uttered. Curses, I'm utterly out of magic power. Urza cursed. Same here, Itachi uttered. But I wouldn't worry. Enough. Makarov arrived at the scene with the rest of the Fairy Tail members besides Juvia, who never returned to the camp. Gramps, Natsu said with a grin. Everyone, Lucy said in relief. Master and Gajeel too, Wendy said. You're all okay, Gray said with a smile. I see, so that's why you didn't look concerned. And the Tenro tree returned to normal, so the island's blessing has too. Urza said. There is more of them. Is that Makarov? Whoa, look over there. Master Hades has been beaten. Leave this island at once, Makarov demanded, and they all ran away in fear. Gray looked concerned over the fact that Juvia wasn't here, while everyone celebrated their victory over Grimoire Heart. Mira jumped in to hug Itachi, who twitched a little in pain, and Mira gained a concerned look. Itachi gave her a reassuring smile, saying that he was fine. Makarov looked over at Laxus, who just avoided eye contact with his grandfather. I am glad you came back. Is what you expected me to say, you nitwit. How dare you set foot on Tenro Island after I kicked you out of the guild? Makarov scolded Laxus. Man, you're a noisy geezer. Laxus uttered. Calm down, master. Levi tried to calm down the short little dwarf of a master. The Thunder God tribe looked at Laxus and began shaking. Laxus. Yes. You came back, Laxus. Laxus. They all embraced him in a hug while tears streamed down from their eyes, and Laxus had slight annoyed expression. Obnoxious, Laxus uttered. Master's as harsh as ever. This is true manliness, Elfman said. Yeah, after all he's still banned. Mira said with a smile while looking at Itachi, whom she was helping stand up. Well, I have a feeling the master will stay stubborn for a bit until he welcomes Laxus back. Itachi said, to which Mira giggled a little. All right, let's continue the trial, Natsu declared. Right now, Happy questioned in shock. They interrupted the second round, so it doesn't count. And Itachi still owes me a fight, Natsu said while throwing punches in the air. Are you crazy or something? Do you seriously think you can beat me in your condition? Gajeel locked heads with Natsu. Yep, it'll be a cinch. I'm a lightning flame drag, Natsu said when he suddenly started to feel the effects of eating Laxus lightning and fell over. Hey, now, Gajeel uttered with a sweat drop. What kind of way to faint is that? Why don't we return to the camp for now? Wendy suggested. We need to rest and recuperate. Charles said. Good point. Let's go. They all began walking away besides Itachi, Mira Jane, who looked confused as to why Itachi stopped, and Makarov looked over at Hades. Makarov, finish me, Hades said. I learned much from you. As a token of gratitude, I will let you go this time. Leave this island, Makarov said. What soft-hearted drivel, if you leave me alive, I will destroy the guild next time. Hades said. That will be impossible, Itachi said. Just because you took some of my limbs doesn't mean I can come back and destroy you, boy. Hades said as he looked at Itachi, who sent him cold stares with his Sharingan active, which he was barely able to keep up. That's not what I mean. That attack of mine seems to have destroyed your magic container. Right now with my Sharingan, I can see magic power leaking out from your body as we speak. Instead of giving you death, this will be your punishment. Magic power will forever be out of your reach. Itachi said in a cold tone, and Makarov and Mira looked at him in shock. While Hades looked at him with wide eyes of shock and rage. What? My magic power? I can't feel it, what have you done? Hades shouted at him in rage. I told you, that attack destroyed your magic container. That was my first time using it too. Itachi said with a motionless expression. Why you kill me? I demand that you kill me. Hades shouted at Itachi. Let's go. Itachi looked at Mira, who nodded. Itachi, my boy, listen, I forbid you from using that move unless I approve of it. Makarov said, taken a little aback over the fact that Itachi used such a powerful attack. It could end up damaging you too after all, Makarov said as he noticed Itachi's damaged arm. Understood, master. Itachi said as he looked at the arm he tossed the sphere from, seeing it was a little torn up with a few burn marks. Come on, let's get you back to camp and treat your wounds. Mira said with a look of concern at Itachi. Yeah, let's go. Itachi agreed as the two of them walked away, leaving Makarov alone with his former master. Makarov, please finish me off now, Hades practically begged. I already said no to that. Makarov said, if you truly respected me, then finish me. This fate that relative of Madara put me in is far worse than death. Hades said, Madara. Makarov questioned as he remembered that name from seeing Itachi's memories back when he joined the guild. That man is a true monster, Hades uttered, and then looked at Itachi and Mira, whom walked away in the distance. That boy is also a true monster, just like Madara. Why did you fall to the dark side? Makarov questioned, and Hades began by saying that darkness is the source of all magic. And that this world is a fake world of magic, while the so-called grand magic world is the true world of magic, and how he wanted to see that world. Even if you found it, it would change nothing. It doesn't matter if magic was originally darkness or if it was originally light. Magic is alive. As the times change, so does its role. It grows as we grow. What we each think and feel, that is magic. Each perception can be anything, whether it's light or dark or red or blue. Fairy tale lives with freedom. These are all things you taught me, Master Precht. Makarov said as he walked away. As everyone was being healed by Wendy back at the camp, and Juvia returned saying how sorry she was that she let Zeref get away, and asked Gray to punish her while shaking her butt towards him. Itachi was the first to get healed by Wendy and was now bandaged up all over his upper body and right arm, as well as his right leg. He now sat with Gildarts and Laxus. By the way, I hear you got kicked out of the guild. You're pathetic. Gildarts mocked Laxus with a grin. Mind your own business, old man. Laxus showed his annoyance. Well, he went through a rebellious stage, so to speak. Itachi said with a smile, to which Gildarts chuckled. Same goes for you, mind your own business. Laxus growled. Itachi, fight me. Natsu charged at Itachi, whom looked at Natsu with his Sharingan, making him fall asleep. When is that nutcase going to learn? Laxus' sweat dropped. Shouldn't you rest, Wendy? Levi asked in concern. As Gajiel, Bixlo, Elfman had formed a line. That's okay. This is when I can be most useful. Wendy assured. Just don't push yourself. Charles said. Shall I take over, Wendy? Urza asked as she was dressed up as a nurse. Urza-san, you're dressed like a nurse. Wendy said with wide eyes. You don't have any healing powers. Charles argued. Differences in ability don't matter in battle, Wendy. It all comes down to heart. Urza said. Huh, is this a battle? Wendy questioned with a little fear. Hey, now, you're scaring Wendy, Charles scolded. Urza sat down with her legs crossed. Now, be honest with me. Where do you hurt? Shall I take your temperature first? Or would you prefer an injection? Oh, geez, you gotta be kidding me, Gray said. She's insane, Gajiel said, and Natsu nodded. But despite that, they all stood in line for Urza. Even the master, Gildarts and Laxus. Hey, no cuts, Bixlow said. Line up right, you jerks. Elfman shouted. You males. Charles shouted. It's okay. At least you can get some rest this way. You know. Levy tried to comfort Wendy. Is it because she has bigger boobs than I do? Wendy uttered while looking a little pale. No. Itachi walked by and grabbed Urza by throwing her over his shoulder and walking away from the line. Hey, no fair. Gildarts shouted and Itachi sent them glares with his Sharingan. And never mind. Why yeah, sorry. Once Itachi had scolded Urza a little, he went out in the forest to look for Zeref. I can sense a dangerous magic coming from here, but where? Are you looking for me perhaps? Zeref appeared behind Itachi, and Itachi quickly turned around to face him. It's been a long time, Itachi Uchiha. How do you know my name? Itachi questioned. Well, taking a peek in a different world is not that difficult if you know the right spell. Zeref replied with a smile, although his eyes had no emotions in them. You got me here right. How did you bring me back to life and altered my age? Itachi questioned with his eyes narrowed. I shall answer that question for you. I assume you've been to Edalis, correct? Zeref asked. Yes, so, Itachi replied. Well, there is also a parallel world to yours which I like to call War World. There are 4 different worlds and they are all connected somehow. Imagine a square and on each end of the square is a different world. On the upper right you have Earthland, on the lower right you have your old world the Shinobi world, on the upper left you have Edalis and on the lower left you have War World. In the center of that square is the afterlife and it moves in a swirl clockwise. So, while I was doing some experiments I opened a portal to the afterlife realm, and looked for strong souls that had passed from the Shinobi world. I just happened to come across yours, Sasori's and Kakuzu's. I did this right after you undid the technique which brought dead people back to life like zombies. Zeref explained. Is that all? Itachi questioned with his eyes narrowed. No, that's just how I got your soul here. How I got your body here is a different story. Like I said, I was doing some experiments and needed test subjects, and like I said earlier, it's quite easy to open a portal to a different world as long as you know the spell. After all, you did go to Edalis, didn't you? Anyway, I looked for dead corpses to perform these experiments on and found yours, Sasori's and Kakuzu's, and I grabbed them. It wasn't until I realized I needed the souls to complete the experiment that I looked for them in the afterlife. Of course, the other 2 I brought back, I managed to grab their souls and their bodies at the same time. In fact, it was thanks to that other friend of yours that I brought back that made me realize I needed your soul to complete the experiment along with the souls of Kakuzu and Sasori. And since my experiment required one of you to get younger, I used a spell on your body to alter your age. However, a few years later I lost you from my grasps, and I didn't find you until now. Zeref explained the whole story on how he brought Itachi back to life, well, almost all of it. Okay then, why do I have this dark power within me? Did you cause it? And what is it? Itachi questioned with his Sharingan glowing. Now, I said I would only answer the first questions. The rest will have to wait for another time. That is if you can survive Acnologia. Zeref said with a smile and vanished. Hey, come back. Who's Acnologia? Itachi shouted and clenched his fist. He then headed back to the camp. With Kakuzu. Kakuzu was on his boat with the body of Zancro, Rusty Rose, Kane and Hades. Lucky me, Zeref finished off Hades for me as well. Shame that his heart is completely destroyed though. Speaking off, I need to start collecting new ones. Kakuzu said as a figure stood on the water before him. What are you doing here? I just came by to see if Itachi-san really was on this island. But seeing how beat up you look, I assume he is. The man chuckled. He wore a black Akatsuki cloak without the clouds on them. He had pale shark-like skin and gills, and short spiky blue hair and fish-like eyes. I can't help but wanting to see my old partner again. Well, you can see him if he survives that thing. Kakuzu looked up into the sky to see something big fly over them and towards the direction of the island. Knowing Itachi-san, he will find a way. It may take a few years before we see him again, but he will find a way. The shark man said. You know Kisame, Acnologia leaves almost no survivors. Kakuzu said. Almost is the word. Kisame smirked with his shark-like teeth. Let's head back. Back on Tenro Island. Say what? Natsu, Gray, Elfman and Gajiel shouted in unison. As I said, the S-Class Wizard promotion trial is hereby cancelled. Makarov announced, much to the dismay of the guys. I don't agree with this, Gramps. Gray shouted. Why are you cancelling it? Natsu questioned. Make me S-Class, damn it. Gajiel demanded. despite not being an actual contender this year. You're not in the running, though. Levi is, Elfman pointed out. Don't blame me. So much has happened, Makarov said, rubbing the back of his partially bald head. A council member snuck in as a contender and Grimoire Heart interrupted things, Mira pointed out. I guess it can't be helped this time, Levi said, seeming a little disappointed. What? You mean you don't even care? Gajeel shouted. There's no reason for you to get so worked up. Panther Lily said. I wanted to become S-class. Gray said in frustration. It's okay. You will for sure next time, Gray-sama. Juvia encouraged her beloved. A real man knows when to quit, too. Elfman sighed in defeat. I ain't given up. I will become S-class. Gray, Elfman and Levi. You guys are giving up, huh? That means I'm gonna be S-class. Natsu declared. You're forgetting that Kanna was the only person who found Master Mavis' grave. She completed most of the trial. If anything, she should become S-class. Itachi pointed out. You went after me right away, and even got knocked off the top. If anything, you have already lost. Why, you said you would give me another chance. Natsu shouted at Itachi. Yes, if you finished the other trials, which you didn't. Besides, why do you want to become S-class? All it is a title and something that gives you access to jobs that are more dangerous and pays more. And since you are on a team with me and Urza, we can go on an S-class quest whenever we want. You're really only after the title, aren't you? So, what's wrong with that? Natsu questioned. Besides, I would like to go on those jobs by myself sometimes too. If you're saying that, what was your reason for wanting to become S-class? Nothing really, it just seemed convenient. I thought if I became S-class, one would get to see more of the world and learn more from it. That's pretty much it, Itachi replied emotionlessly. The master coughed, gaining their attention. Very well, since you insist, Natsu, if you can defeat Itachi, you will become S-class. Why are you dragging me into this? Itachi questioned. Well, you were the last trial after all, might as well have it be you. Makarov replied with a grin. All right, I'm fired up. Here I come. Natsu charged head forwards at Itachi. Itachi stepped back, kneed Natsu in the gut and karate chopped him in the neck, knocking the pyro out. I was so close, Natsu uttered before falling unconscious. Itachi, my boy, could I have a talk with you in private? Makarov said, and Itachi walked with him into the forest. The others looked at them curiously, especially Mira and Urza. Once they were alone, Makarov gave Itachi a serious look. Did you manage to find any of the information you wanted, on how you were brought back to life? I was brought back by Zeref, same with the other ones besides Hidan. It seems we were a part of his experiment. What the experiment was, I do not know. Although I suspect that dark aura in me was a part of that experiment, and now I have a good idea of what power it possesses, as I tested it out on Hades. Itachi replied. That attack of yours was so powerful even as we were on our way to the ship. We could feel it. Listen, I was serious about what I said earlier. I forbid you from using that move unless I give you permission. In fact, I forbid you from using too much of that dark aura as well. Makarov said, and Itachi nodded his head. Understood. Master, about Madara. Yes, that guy in that mask I saw in your world. Makarov questioned. No, I figured out in Edalus by seeing the memories of my other self who was from a parallel world of mine called War World. That the man with the mask is not Madara, rather another member of my clan by the name of Obito. However, this Madara, the one Zeref brought back, is the real deal. Itachi said as the mood went dark. And I have a feeling that he's much more powerful than Obito. Honestly, if he ever becomes an enemy of Fairy Tail, I don't think we stand a chance. Itachi said as a gush of wind blew around them. Well, it's not like we want to make enemies with anyone, and if it ever were to happen, I'm sure we could find a way. You and Madara come from the same blood, there is no need to give up hope just yet. After all, it's not like you can't grow stronger. Now that your sickness is gone, you can easily start training and grow stronger. And the guild and your friends will grow with you. You must not give up, my boy. Makarov said with a kind fatherly smile. Master, I want to believe that, but things are not always that easy. Forgive me, Master, but at some point, I might have to break our promise when it comes to this power. Itachi thought. Now there is one more thing. Now that you know you're going to live longer, will you tell them the full truth? Or do you intend to take that secret to the grave? Makarov looked over at Itachi with a stern, serious expression. I have decided to tell them, once we return back to the guild, but I have decided to tell Urza first. I will tell them my story. Itachi replied. I won't worry so much. Everyone in the guild has gone through their own things. They won't hate you for what you've done in the past, even though you can't seem to forgive yourself for it. Makarov said with a gentle smile at Itachi. That is true, I will never forgive myself for it. It was my greatest failure after all. Even if everyone forgives me, that doesn't change the fact that I'm a murderer. Itachi said as a trail of tears dripped down from his eyes. Now then, shall we return to the others, before they start worrying? Makarov said and patted Itachi on the back to comfort him. Meanwhile, Mira and Urza had hid behind a tree a bit away from Makarov and Itachi's discussion. They both had a look of shock as they had arrived in time to hear the last part of their discussion. His greatest failure? Urza questioned. The truth? Mira questioned. Itachi noticed them at the end, however decided that it won't matter, he's going to tell them all soon anyway. As they walked back, Itachi noticed Lucy and Kanna talking about telling Guildarts the truth. Excuse me, Master, I have something important to witness. Itachi said and vanished, leaving a bewildered Makarov. Itachi arrived at a tree top and noticed Kanna standing in front of Guildarts. So, those that mean your old man was a member of Fairy Tail? Guildarts questioned. Yeah, Kanna uttered. His name is Guildarts. Huh. Guildarts looked confused. Huh. He then blinked several times. Huh. He widened his eyes in pure shock. I was never able to tell you, though, for various reasons. Kanna said. Hold on. Why yeah, I guess it's hard to accept, huh? Who's the mother? Exclamation mark. Sarah, Naomi, Claire, Fina, Mary, Eliza, no, the hair color's all wrong. Emma, Lila, Jean, Sydney, Kate, Yuko, Francoise, old man, just how many girlfriends do you got? Kanna questioned in annoyance. I got it, Sylvia, you're just like her. Gender, for example, Guildarts said nervously. It makes me so mad that my dad's such a pathetic womanizer. Anyway, I'm just letting you know. That's all. Kanna huffed and turned away and started walking. Hang on. Guildarts said. That's all I wanted to say. I don't care about living as a family or anything like that. You can just be your usual old, Kanna said when suddenly Guildarts hugged her. You're Cornelia's daughter. No doubt about it. Let go. Kanna said a little embarrassed. Why didn't you say anything until now? Guildarts questioned. It was too hard to bring up. So it wound up taking me all this time. Kanna replied. Cornelia is the one and only girl I ever loved. She's the only one I ever married. She left me out of disgust 18 years ago because I was always working. I'd heard that she had passed away, but I never knew she had a kid. I'm sorry I didn't realize it before, Guildarts said. Kanna then broke the hug and gave Guildarts a smile. It's okay. I'm the one who tried to keep it hidden. I'm sorry to be selfish like this, but now the weight on my chest's been lifted. All this time, I had a daughter so close to me. Guildarts was on the verge of tears. Don't worry about it. I don't mean for you to take responsibility or anything like that. We can continue as always. But, let me say it just one time, I'm glad that I got to meet you, Dad. Kanna said with a wink. Guildarts gained tears in his eyes as memories of seeing Kanna growing up in the guild ran through his mind. Kanna. He embraced her in a hug yet again. I won't make you feel sad again. Never. I'll always be with you from now on, whether it's on a job or to go drinking. I think that might be a little annoying. Kanna said with a smile and tears forming in her eyes. So, give me the right to love you. Guildarts said as they kept on hugging. Itachi smiled at the fact that she finally told him. He looked below him and saw Natsu, happy and Lucy crying. Itachi heard a roar in the distance, and it seemed Guildarts did as well. What's suddenly gotten into you? Kanna questioned. This sensation. Guildarts uttered. Is this Acnologia that Zeref spoke of? Itachi questioned and leapt down. Guildarts. Itachi. Guildarts saw the serious look on Itachi's face. That dragon you met, was its name Acnologia by any chance? Itachi asked. I never got to hear its name, but, this sensation there's no mistaking it. Guildarts uttered when suddenly they heard a massive powerful roar that shook the island itself. That's a dragon, Natsu said and they all rushed back to the camp. Guys, are you alright? Lucy shouted at the others at the camp as they ran towards them. That was a loud roar. Happy said. Guys. Gray said. Suddenly Guildarts clenched his hand over his left arm. Hey, are you okay? Kanna questioned. My old wounds are suddenly aching. No doubt about it, it's him. He's coming. Guildarts said. Hey, look above. Panther Lily said and everyone did so. seeing a massive black dragon with blue markings coming down. What is that? Gray questioned in horror. It's huge, Elfman said. This is, Juvia uttered. A dragon, Bixlo shouted. You gotta be kidding me, Gajil uttered. A real dragon, Wendy uttered. I knew it, dragons are still alive, Natsu shouted. The black dragon of the apocalypse, Acnologia. Makarov questioned in shock. A real dragon actually exists. Lucy questioned. Hey you, do you know where Igneel is now? And Grandini and Metallicana, Natsu shouted at the dragon. Stop, Natsu, don't provoke him, I already explained to you before, I got this arm, no this body. Gildarts said referring to the missing limbs and all the injuries on his body. It's coming down, Fried said. This guy is evil, unlike Natsu, Wendy and Gajil's dragons. Itachi said, yeah, you're right, this thing is the enemy of mankind. Gildarts said as Acnologia landed right in front of them. Are we gonna fight it, then? Natsu questioned. No, it's not like that. You got it all wrong, Natsu. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about how we can escape from it. No, it's more about which of us will actually survive. Gildarts said, to which Natsu widened his eyes in shock. Are you saying this thing's gonna kill some of us? Natsu questioned when suddenly Acnologia roared. This is bad. Everyone, run. Gildarts shouted. In our state, we won't be able to defeat it. I don't think even if we all were at full power could manage that, Itachi thought. Then Acnologia let out a massive roar that tore up the ground and cleared away the entire forest around them. Just its roar was enough to destroy the forest, Itachi uttered in shock. What the heck? It did this with just a roar. Kanna uttered in fear. I guess you could call that his idea of saying hello. Everyone's still alive. There is no time to be freaked out. We have to get off this island right now. It's coming. Get to the ships. Gildarts shouted and everyone started running. But Acnologia flew after them and charged at Bixlo and Fried. Why? Why are you doing this? Answer me. Wendy shouted, but Acnologia ignored them as he viewed them all as nothing but insects. Acnologia slammed his tail down and swung it at Elfman, sending him flying, but he was caught by Evergreen. Makarov removed his shirt and increased in size, until he was in his giant mode. Gramps, Natsu shouted. Run to the ships. Makarov shouted as he grabbed a hold around Acnologia's neck and struggled to hold him back. Master, stop. If anything were to happen to you. The guild will, Urza said. Run. Makarov shouted. Since it's come to this, we'll join in. Fried said. Don't you underestimate Fairy Tail. Bixlo shouted. We're gonna go for broke. Evergreen shouted. Yeah, Elfman shouted. Stop. There is no way we can win, just stop, Itachi uttered. Can't you listen to your master this one last time, you damn brats? Itachi, you're the master now. Get them out of here. Now, Makarov shouted. I'm a dragon slayer. If he's an enemy, then let me handle. Natsu shouted when suddenly he was grabbed by Laxus, who pulled him away. Let's run, Natsu, Laxus said. Laxus, you. Natsu stopped when he saw drops of tears escape from his eyes. Master, please stay safe, Urza said as they all ran away. Everyone, let's go, Itachi shouted, and they all rushed towards the direction of the boats. Everyone ran away crying, at their master's sacrifice. You blasted thing, I don't know what your aim is, but I won't let you go further ahead. Because my kids are behind me. Makarov shouted as Acnologia opened its jaw and pushed Makarov down. They both roared at each other, until Makarov began to laugh. Then suddenly Natsu ran up towards Acnologia and dodged the tail of the beast, as he leapt onto his arm, not letting go. Give Gramps back, Natsu demanded. Natsu. Acnologia swung his arm to the side, sending Natsu flying off it and Makarov flying to the side. Makarov reverted back to his normal state. Suddenly Urza and Itachi stepped in front of Makarov. Urza, and Itachi too, I was against the idea. But do you really think your guild's the kind to ditch an old man and run away? Laxus said. Besides, I don't feel like becoming the master, at least not yet. Itachi said with a smile. Although I doubt any of us will survive, at least we will go out together. Charge, Urza commanded, and they all attacked Acnologia. Guys, unleash every ounce of strength you have. So much that you can't give any more. Laxus shouted as he let out a massive amount of lightning. Use that, together into a combo attack. To teach him what Fairy Tail is made of. Everyone, now, Itachi shouted. Raging Bolt. Laxus sent a massive wave of lightning. Heaven's Wheel. Blumenblatt. Urza sent multiple swords flying at Acnologia while in her Heaven's Wheel armor. Super Freeze Arrow. Gray sent a barrage of ice arrows. Water nebula. Juvia sent a wave of water. Solid script. Fire. Levi sent a wave of fire. Sagittarius. Now. Lucy commanded the horseman that fired multiple arrows. Evil explosion. Mira Jane sent a wave of dark energy. The Thunder God tribe is back in action. Fried swung his sword around sending several magic blasts. Let's kick some tail. Bixlo had his dolls fire a magic beam each, while Evergreen fired a barrage of magic bullets. Fire style. Fireball. Itachi spit out a massive ball of fire. It all combined into one attack that charged at Acnologia. Sky Dragon. Roar. Iron Dragon. Roar. Fire Dragon. Roar. The Dragon Slayers all spit out massive breath attacks that crashed into Acnologia, pushing him back into the water. Did we get him? Natsu questioned. No. Gildarts said. Gildarts? Great question. He still hasn't exerted the strength he did when he fought me, he's playing around. Gildarts said as Acnologia rose from the water. Itachi, can you use that dark aura? As much as I don't want you to. This is an emergency. Makarov shouted. No, in the state I'm in, I would need time to concentrate, and even if I had done it from the beginning, it wouldn't have mattered, I wouldn't have been finished by now anyway. Itachi said. That bastard. Gajiel glared at Acnologia. We put everything into it, too. Wendy cried. The power of 3 dragon slayers, and the power of everyone in the guild. Damn it. Natsu cursed and punched his fist into the ground. What did I even learn dragon slayer magic for? Acnologia began inhaling its breath, getting ready for an attack. A breath attack. Gajiel shouted in horror. Don't tell me he's going to take out the whole island. Kanna questioned. No way. Evergreen uttered. You can't be serious, Juvia uttered. Is there nothing we can do now? Lucy questioned while crying. Is this how it's going to end for all of us? Defense magic wielders. Use everything in your power. Oni-chan, you have that shield that reflects anything, right? Use it, Urza said. It's useless. Even if all of you gave me your energy to form the Yata mirror, it won't be enough to keep it up for long. Plus I don't think reflecting his own attack back at him will kill him either or make him stop, it might just make him angrier, Itachi said. Wait, we could use script magic. There is all kinds of defense spells in script magic. Levi said. Yes. Fried said. Everyone focus your magic power into Fried's group. Lizanna shouted. Everyone, let's hold hands. Mira said, stretching out her hand that was grabbed by Itachi. In case we don't make it out of here, I want to clear the air about something. I love you, Mira Jane, I always have and I always will. Itachi said as he held her hand. Mira had tears form in her eyes as she looked at Itachi. I love you too, Itachi. Save that for later. We're not gonna go out like this. Natsu said as he grabbed Lucis' hand and everyone gathered in a circle. Itachi held Mira and Urza's hand. I hope so, because there is something I want to tell all of you when we get back, Itachi said. Let's all go home. To Fairy Tale. Everyone declared as they let out a small light and Acnologia released his breath attack on the entire island, leaving no trace of it. Unknown location. A hooded figure stood on the shore looking out to the vast ocean, as powerful waves struck around the rocks. The man was dressed in a black coat with a hood over his head. Underneath the coat was pieces of a red samurai armor. The man had a long-sleeved black shirt and pants. He had long spiky black hair and had bangs covering his right eye. His eyes were glowing red with 3 black tomos and a black dot in the center. This was Madara Uchiha. He looked like he was in deep thought as he looked out at the ocean. Flashback. In a stormy winter, snowy area stood Madara, face to face with a massive beast that had been foolish enough to stand in his way. Ha! A mere pet wants to dance with me. Such nonsense. Madara smirked mockingly at the beast as it swung its claw down at him, when suddenly it froze into a massive chunk of ice. Madara widened his eyes slightly as a hooded figure leapt in. Are you okay? The figure had a feminine voice and was obviously a woman. Madara could not see her face although he kept a calm expression. I could have killed that beast myself, there was no need for you to step in. Madara said with his eyes narrowed, as he had to admit the woman was powerful. Not as powerful as him of course, not by a long shot, but she was probably the most powerful normal human he had come across in this new world. Oh, a tough guy huh? What's wrong Mr. Tough Guy? Can't handle being rescued by a woman? The hooded figure asked teasingly. Hey, rescued, implies that I needed your help, which I did not. The woman let out a small giggle. I'm sure. She then removed her hood, revealing to be a beautiful young woman with short chin, long dark purple hair and black eyes. I'm all by the way, and you, Madara. Flashback end Madara looked out at the ocean as the sun went down. What utter nonsense, he said with a small smirk on his face as he turned around and walked away. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The next episode will be out soon.